Yo, yo. What's going on, you guys? I had some difficulties today. Obviously, my services is going down because it's raining up here in parts of Florida. Honestly, I don't see number one. So where's the other YouTube? Let's see. We finna get it popping around here, you guys. Uh, uh I don't see all this. Okay, let's go. Okay. Yeah, this is a shame, y'all. This a shame, boy. We in 2022 still with people who trying to hold on to something really don't belong to them. We're in an environment where everybody can live and be happy. You know what I mean? I mean, you buy your land, don't nobody have to f with you. You know what I mean? We just have all this wanna be in control mechanism now. And this stuff is unreal. I don't like Tisha, but I'm gonna see what she have to say. Let me see what she have to say. Let's see what she have to say. Said I don't like her. I just I don't know.
What if I told you everything that we've been led to believe so far is wrong? What if I told you there's an expert that is actually coming forth to let us know what they think happened? And what if I told you that their investigation was so bombshell that TikTok pulled the video down several times and they had to go and post to Instagram and speak in code? And what if I told you the whole purpose of the video was to explain how the only thing that seems to make sense when it comes to the bilge pump and where the GPS was that the boys were fleeing? We're so focused on what happened out in that ocean. We're so focused on whether Bart, Warren, Wyatt, all those. We're so focused on that we got ahead of things. I believe this young woman, I'm about to show you in a second, her theory and her explanation about why they even left Horn Island fits into a larger narrative that something happened and it literally put the fear of God in those boys and they were forced to flee Horn Island. That's why, even though nobody really knows when they saw Nolan, the one thing they all agree is we left at 4 o'clock and there was that call to Cito that really sounded like an alibi. Whether or not it was, it looked like an alibi. But you know what? We can talk about this on the back end. First, you need to hear and see this information. All right, turn your sound up. This is something very, very powerful. One moment. Now, really quick, I want to introduce this young woman. Her name is Aja Hall. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's AJAHALLH. That's AJAHALLH. And she is 100% on Instagram and TikTok. Please make sure you give her a follow. Listen to her and what she has to say. And then we're going to have the discussion. Ooh, okay, hold on. Let's go.
Video, he explains exactly what was wrong.
Let her cook. Just let her cook, all right? It's a lot of information, but let her cook. It's real quick.
Wrong with the boat, and it wasn't caused by a random billiage pump issue. Bilage, however you say it. Another thing is that the jump from when he last saw No No to when they were yelling, get on the boat, you're missing a big piece of what made everybody run to the boat.
Pause. If you guys don't know, she said no, no. That is for Nolan. She is going to change the names a little bit because for some reason, even though she doesn't accuse anybody of anything, every time she starts talking about this bilge pump and them fleeing, like I said, TikTok pulled her video down and she had to repost on Instagram and speak in code. This is powerful. All right, let's go.
W also admits that the boy's name who writes with Smart started yelling at No No. He also admits that throughout the day, they were all picking on No No for being with that girl. And the moment, W says, the moment that girl and No No sit in front of Smart's boat, Smart starts yelling at him all of a sudden out of nowhere, get on the boat. Boat wasn't having a bilge pump or bilge pump.
Here comes the $1 million breakdown.
Issue. Says verbatim, we have an issue where we have finally trimmed down the boat and got it on the right plane. That they all move to one side of the boat. When you trim down the motor to get it on the right plane, that means that you drop the bow. This is how you are supposed to get the actual boat from being completely still to an accelerated speed fast. That they left the trim down when trying to accelerate off the island at a very fast speed, and this is what blew the bilge pump. If the trim is not up when you try to take down, it causes water to back up in the bilge. The trim is left up, the bow shoots high into the air during acceleration, forcing all loose bilge water to rush to the very back of the hull. This is why they all tried to do the emergency mover where they move forward. This traps water in the boat and specifically at the bilge pump. Did an emergency remover that everyone knows about, and this fucked up the bilge pump and it started to take on water. Bilge pump wasn't an issue until they made it a quarter mile offshore, like he said, at 40 miles per hour, because they didn't take the emergency brake, and the maneuver that they used to try to get the bow back up fucked everything up on the boat. Question is, what type of panic or event ensued that y'all were moving so fast, the boys who've known boats since they were children, that y'all forgot to do the simplest thing when trying to accelerate from a stop on a boat that everyone knows when you're speeding, like they said, at 40 miles per hour. Something happened to cause enough chaos for them to fuck that up, is my point.
You guys, okay, let's talk about it. If you guys don't see why this is so big, let me break it down. And for those of you that do understand what she's saying, y'all, we've been looking at this all wrong. And maybe they've been sending us red herrings. But thank God for Aja. Make sure y'all follow her. Mama is she's smart, beautiful, love her, right? Listen to this. The whole thing about the trim, the bilge pump, all that stuff. These boys, and Warren was bragging about it. We've been on the boat our whole lives. We know this, we know that. When you go to leave, you must remove the trim. It was a rookie error. It's like trying to drive at 80 miles an hour while your parking brake is on. And you see the emergency parking brake on and you don't care. You're still going. For someone that is an experienced driver, you're backing out and you floor it. And at 40 miles an hour in a boat is fast. So that's like literally going from 80 miles an hour out your mama's neighborhood, flooring it. And for what? What was the rush? Why were you guys so eager to get off of Horns Island that you forgot to take the emergency brake off? You forgot to take the trim off. And you literally went, and that's how the bilge pump actually got messed up. And that's why it even said in the interview that he had to go and pop the trim out. Because the one thing that should have happened before you even left the island, you didn't go, and you were going at 40-something miles an hour. Now we know from what they've said, if we can believe it, Bart met them out there. Bart offered a tow. They took it. While Wyatt is on the phone At the time he's being towed, talking to Cito. Why it's granddaddy. It's on the phone with the Cito captain saying, don't worry about it. Don't you worry about, okay, let me stop playing this serious, right? Got it. Now.
Damn, Tisa.
We got that. But again, what
I really like you
happened
now.
that made these boys that have been on boats all their lives flee Horn Island? And how is it that everybody involved that Warren came with wants us to know and believe from the bottom of their hearts? And even they have phone calls to prove it, that they left at 4 o'clock off of Horn Island. And why did you flee? It seems like 42 miles an hour off of that island to the point of help had to be rendered while you were at sea. Why? Indeed. Why indeed? So let's get back to what we know. Nolan's coach, one of his coaches, I don't know if it's current, but one of his coaches, because he's had a bunch, said that he saw Nolan on the island sometime between 2:30, 3:30, he's not sure, and he didn't look a liquor drunk. He was perfectly sober. On top of that, he had a D1 tryout. He was D1 and he had an important tryout on Monday. Okay. And he didn't look a liquor drunk. So how, if he did see you around 2:30, 3:30, right? How did you get so drunk that it turned into an accidental drowning? Katie, the person your family says they love and they trust, and she chills. Tell me how Katie said the last time I saw him was when I believe it was Bart or one of the friends was yelling, "No, get the F on the boat. Get the F on the boat." Now, she is true. Tristan and Warren both admitted in the interview that they were teasing Nolan about being with Katie. Warren said, I looked at him, it's like, man, you crazy. Tristan said he walked by and said some slick shit to him before he left about Katie. I believe Warren said that either his brother or Bart was yelling at Nolan. Right? So all that has been established. Now we can argue whether that is relevant or not. And then I believe Warren said that either Bart or Wyatt was yelling, "Get the F on the boat." And Katie said he left to go with his friends. So as soon as that boat fled from that island, not one person, including the girl he was cradling, Nolan was last seen cradling, not one person on that island with 200 to 300 people and plenty of votes, even his college, not one person saw Nolan again after those boys fled in the boats. And by the way, please watch my other video because it's now looking like there were 4 boats, that Wyatt had 2 boats, the Palm Beach and another boat. The evidence is there. Please go look at the other video. Tell me what you think. This ain't no AI slop. This is actually real investigative stuff, right? I give credit where credit is due. Please go check it out. So what's really going on? Let's rewind. Let's go back to the point of what made those boys flee. Again, it's like leaving your mama's house or a party at 80 miles an hour with the emergency brake on. To the point, but worse than that, because will the emergency brake mess up the engine? I don't know. The whole point of it is you get what I'm saying. So much so that it took them so much and made such a rookie mistake from people that had been on the water and they all know boats and this and that. You made a rookie mistake so much help had to be rendered. And when help was rendered by Bart, according to the video he provided, y'all knew exactly what to do. Pop the trim out, get the water out, and get the bill. Y'all knew exactly what to do. And y'all thought, oh, we're sinking. You wasn't sinking. It was taking on water, perhaps, but y'all knew exactly what to do to fix it.
The grandfather told him
what's really
what to
going
do.
on? Let's go back. What happened to Nolan? Tell me how, when those boats of boys left, Nolan vanished. Not one person out of 200 or 300 saw him. And Nolan was very popular. He was very known. He was very tall. And he was probably only one of a handful at best of black people on the island. I don't think there was one black woman, and there might have been a few black men, right? So what's really going on? Let's go back to the bit. Why were those boys fleeing? Why was the bill charge broken? We keep starting at the CTO call and help and what happened? We need to ask, why did you guys flee the island at such a high rate that you guys almost sank the boat? Yeah. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. Listen, chew on this, watch the other video. I'll be live tonight so we can discuss.
Woo, y'all. Okay. For me, oh my God, I think it was because of the Diddy thing. I didn't too much rock, and maybe I shouldn't be thinking like that. But she really hit a home run on that one. She definitely hit a home run. Let's see what she got going on. I might have to subscribe, follow her.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen, a breaking update in the Nolan Wells case. There apparently may be a fourth boat. Now, what are we basing this on? It's not just conjecture or speculation. There is real photo evidence. We will show you that there is a fourth boat. On top of that, TMZ has an interesting article that seems to be hinting and trying to move toward that. Why is a fourth boat important? Because it shows that there may have been an adult on one of those boats. And when I say adult, I don't mean Bart. I mean an actual adult on one of those boats. On top of that, there is a political connection that appears to connect the governor and Turning Point USA, two people involved in this case. You guys, hold on. I guarantee you by the end of this video, you will have a different perspective and have more information to answer the question that everybody wants to know. What happened to Nolan Wells? First of all, before I present the evidence of the fourth boat, I'm going to show you that in a second. Let's get into TMZ and the way TMZ seems to be soft launching this. Listen to this. Actually, no, let's get into the proof of the boat. And then we're going to get into the TMZ article about the way they also appear to be soft launching it. Now, keep in mind, TMZ seems like they are highly sympathetic to Nolan's friends. Highly sympathetic to Nolan's friends. Could be a coincidence, but you know the way TMZ gets down. Anyway, let's get into the evidence about the fourth boat, the possible adult, a maybe cover up, and the political ties and connections. Interesting enough, wasn't Warren's daddy up there screaming, "This is a political conspiracy"? I bet you think it is, because y'all know maybe what's going on your side. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. All right, let's get into this. You guys, turn your volume up, and if you can, look at your screens. We are bringing in Nerdy Pink Panther 1 on TikTok. Make sure you give her a follow, because I think she did an excellent job of assembling all the information. Let's go.
Not only have I found more evidence of a fourth boat, not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the two boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled, and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there. And yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there, according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. And if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side,
Which is a good.
means there's four boats.
Sorry about that. Let's just rewind this really quick. Hold on.
Right there, a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats.
Okay.
And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side.
So now we're looking at 4 boats. But hold on. The evidence gets even clearer. Hold on.
Which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's 18-foot Palm Beach. And Wyatt, I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all plan to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boat. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know that there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had two boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Again, who was driving the other boat? If he, according to this photo evidence you just saw, now has two boats in the water.
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey, man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview, he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come. And Bart was like, "Yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah." According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And
let's think about that. Why indeed?
And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the sea tow. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boats. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here, 525, speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So
Wyatt could hop back in. Let's keep going.
Then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and, napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the islands.
Now, you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour, and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. So right there, we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes.
Or which boat stopped before going into Fort Bayou? Because if they're all getting their alibi together, maybe they're all intermingling facts on the story. Which boat? But let's keep going.
Later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou boat launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know.
Now, this is an important point because they've been releasing footage left and right to TMZ about all this stuff. They even released. Why are they not releasing all the footage? Why can't we see one who got to the dock, who deplaned the dock? But more important, I want to see their body language or the way they were acting when they got back from Horn Island with Nolan, who mysteriously vanished. How were they moving? How were they acting?
Know that Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents live there? Jack Spatalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Spatalo Sr., which is Jack's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jack's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never found guilty himself, but some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations. So now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
You guys, did she not break it down? Did I not promise you that this was going to be a gold mine? But she gave us a lot of information. But I think the thing we 100% need to focus on, first of all, is was there another adult on that boat? Now, interestingly enough, it seems like there was another boat around, or at the very least, we need to know what happened to Wyatt's 2 boats. Because again, if Warren wasn't driving that time, who was actually driving? Keep in mind, TMZ and their soft launch, that there might have been another boat. Look at this. Nolan Wells, possible sighting of boat in newly surfaced video. They said they have footage. The Mac Daddy boat is clearly seen and appears to match the footage obtained by TMZ that day, which could be the final sighting of Nolan before his disappearance. The funny thing is, the clip was posted by a person who said they captured the footage around July 4th, 11:17 a.m. However, metadata shows the video was recorded at 2:23 p.m., making the sighting way earlier in the day. Now, I would like to see who did the metadata because, again, Mississippi, I think, is an hour behind New York City, and it might be 2 hours in front of California. So even though it does say 2:23, at this point, we are not believing TMZ's metadata until we actually see proof of an actual agent that actually does this for a living and verifies and risks their professional reputation on it, right? Again, Warren was seen in matching trunks on this boat. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying the Mac Daddy was the boat, but what I am saying is it is funny to me that after sleuths are finding this information, that TMZ is now soft launching the fact of there may have been other boats involved. I do want to say this. On Horn Island, when everybody knows that boy's drowned, why is it so hard why can't anyone come forward and say that they saw Nolan after his friends departed from the port. That is the one mystery that warrants daddy's stupid $50,000 GoFundMe reward that looks like PR. Their distasteful, disgusting GoFundMe where they use Nolan's name in order to try to get people that want Black people to shut up to fund to go against Ben Crump and to sue him. Again, that's my opinion, what it looks like it's being used for, to go against Ben Crump and get him to shut up. It hasn't explained why Bart's lawyer is out there swinging, but everybody is not. It was their fourth boat. What happened to Wyatt's two boats? Where did that fourth boat go? Who was driving it? And why doesn't the GPS coordinates and evidence match for any one boat for them to be where they should actually be? Again, Officer Tatum is so busy barking at Nolan's mom. Why would you actually ask your interviewees why their whole thing doesn't make sense? Because the only person, story, who hasn't changed at all is Nolan Mama's right. Everybody else keeps this, that, and the third. But we all know Officer Django is not going to do that. But shout out to his job and whatever else he's using to get himself rich. I hope it's worth it. But even though I think he'd do this for free. Anyway, y'all, listen, I will be live later. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be presenting a few more theories, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Oh, okay, she was to the point. She wasn't jittering. She got her shit together. Look like. Okay, okay. Let's see. Let's see. What's talking about the thing? Let me look at one more.
Is this mic? Is this live on? What is going on? Why y'all still yelling? Tisa, where are you? I'm right here. And please, who said they was gonna watch? Who
I'm gonna
said that?
subscribe to her. Okay, I like the way she's doing things. I'm gonna come back and because I want to look and see if Lakeisha.
Hey, what's up,
I
you
watch
guys? Listen,
Lakeisha all the
breaking
time.
news.
For some reason, she's trending
Hey, what's up,
right
you
now
guys? Listen,
on YouTube, right? I don't. He kind of more. He kind of get on my nerves. You say they lied. Okay, let's see. I think we looked at this. I think I looked at this. Let me see.
Breaking news, everybody. Benjamin Crump just appeared on the Art of Dialogue for an interview. And in this interview, he explains how he feels about the audio and how the sister engineered it whereas though we can hear the background of the audio. Not only that, he speaks about some things that we all had questions about. And like I said before, I believe Ben Crump has a lot of information, but he's just not sharing it now because he does not want to reveal his hands. But in the interview, you can see how he's being careful with his words because we know the other side, they are trying to sue. They are trying to sue any and everybody out there for a defamation of character so they could turn the narrative and then they can play the victim. So I'm going to tell every content creator out there, if you're speaking on this situation, be careful because the other side needs something to stand on because they are looking bad. Before we continue, y'all please make sure y'all hype this video, make sure y'all subscribe and get the likes up. Let's get into it, y'all.
One of the things that has been bewildering is the fact that if he says he's going to stay behind, why doesn't an 18-year-old get their cell phone? If they're not going to go with the boat, why would they leave it with them? His mother, called his phone 3 times, got no answer after they started getting concerned. And it was when they did the Life 360, trying to say, find my phone, is when she found out that the phone were with the friends. And so her friend went to get the phone. And when they got the phone back, they discovered that there were a lot of Snapchat messages that were deleted. They also found that there were some texts deleted. So that was very concerning to them as they're trying to figure out, what happened to my child? Our child is dead and we have no answers. Nobody's telling us anything. And so it became just incredibly painful ordeal for them trying to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And then America became engaged in this matter because it wasn't adding up to anybody. You know, he says, I'm going to stay behind, but he leaves his cell phone. He doesn't have his car keys. You know, well, if he stand behind and you don't have any of that information, people are saying, did he stay behind? And so that becomes a question. And, you know, obviously there's this CETO audio that comes out that people have did forensic audio engineering on it to try to see what was being said on the audio recording of the CETO counter 911 type call. And it's in that call that people say they hear certain things. We have retained audio engineering experts to be able to
Thank you for the likes.
be
Share,
able
like,
to decipher and to
and let's
render
talk.
expert opinions on the validity of the CETO 911 audio that seems to suggest things about the presence of Nolan.
My question to y'all is, do y'all think if it wasn't for the internet, if it wasn't for the people using their voices,
Absolutely.
screaming and shouting out loud from the rooftop, what happened? Do y'all think we would have got that CETO audio from the dispatch? Do y'all think we would have gotten as far as we have gotten if it wasn't for the people? I think not. That's why it's so important that we continue to speak on this situation. No matter who gets offended, we must continue to speak on this situation, y'all.
And so we are trying not to speculate, we're trying to investigate, but we are asking questions, questions that don't add up to us. And that's what everybody's been doing because everybody says, how can this 18-year-old college football player who's in tip-top shape just go missing and nobody knows anything? Nobody's seen anything. And the sheriff within, hours after he was discovered, his dead body, they claimed that, that no foul play, accidental drowning is what they suggest. And his family are saying, we can't accept that when you make that conclusion without doing no investigations. And so what they want is a full, impartial, fair investigation into what happened to Nolan Wells. In our community, we see people investigate it very zealously. And so we want the same thing for our children. We want them to zealously investigate this matter, just as if they would if the roles were reversed. And that's what I think has people in the minority community saying, hold on, we want to know what's on everybody's phone. We want to know social media, because all of that could become very relevant information as to what happened to Nolan Wells.
Throughout history, they have been so accustomed to getting away with the unaliving of our people and nobody being held accountable for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the woman that Nolan was hanging out with when he was at the island, Katie, her sister, Gracie, came out and said that Nolan intended to go back to the mainland with his friends, right?
Yeah, there seems to be a conflict in what they're saying. They said he stayed with the young lady. The young lady said no, he got back on the boat. And so, that seems to be one of the biggest issues that everybody is trying to figure out, as well as the independent autopsy where he had red discoloration at the back of his brain, that was found in the second autopsy, and also the fact that the initial state medical examiner kept possession of Nolan Wells' throat. And we don't know why they did that. Our pathologist, Dr. Roger Mitchell, said when he was the chief medical examiner for the city of Washington, D.C., that they normally would do that it wasn't uncommon if they suspected that there might be some fracture or some compressions to the throat.
So that's the circumstances where they would keep the throat and the parts of the neck where they suspect that there would be damage to it. So there's no reason for them to hold the throat back if it wasn't any damage to the neck. And there's red discoloration in the back of the head. That's very, very fishy, along with some other things, y'all.
So after y'all did the autopsy, from what you know, what do you believe that was on the back of his neck?
We can't speculate. We know that we think Dr. Roger Mitchell should have the benefit of looking at all the autopsy notes and observations and photographs from the first autopsy, and then have, the state medical examiner be able to look at all of his notes from the second autopsy and try to work together to figure out what conclusions that they can draw from the autopsies, both of them. And then also waiting for toxicology. That becomes a factor in finding out the manner and cause of death. But Dr. Mitchell said, and this is a very, very important, he said, if it's a drowning, then that still doesn't answer the whole question of what happened to Nolan Wells, because he said then there are questions about, was Nolan Wells' condition of his body conscious or unconscious when he went into the water? Furthermore, he said, did he go into the water unforced or forced? He said all those things become factors.
Makes a lot of sense. And I know his friend Warren Hudson, he came out with an interview where he made a statement about how Nolan, he was drinking liquor on the boat. You heard about that?
Well, we don't know. We want the toxicology to come. We know when you hear the CTO audio call, it appears that there was some intoxication. But again, toxicology can tell us that. And people's firsthand eyewitness testimony can tell us that. We want answers. As I've said over and over again, I am for truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. I am for justice, no matter who it convicts or who it acquits. And I am certainly for transparency, so all of us can see and we can have trust in the system that this was a fair, impartial, and complete investigation. That's what everybody would want if this was their child.
And I love how Benjamin Crump doesn't jump to conclusions. He doesn't act off his emotions, and he still implements the other side and let them know we can do this together. We want peace, because he understands if he was to act off emotions or anger or try to blame the people, that would give the people fuel to say, look at how you're acting. Then it's going to allow them to play the victim. But they still been doing that anyway. Wait
a minute. They going to play the victim regardless. So for me, I'm going to act the way I want, because they're going to play the victim anyway. They're gonna assassinate your character. I don't give a damn what it is. You know what I mean? And then they get bootlickers to do it for them, so that they won't be blamed for doing it. You know what I mean? So that's just how that works. I'm not gonna let nobody dumb me down if I feel a way, or if something happened to my child. I wouldn't give a damn. And yes, I love how Nolan's parents didn't give the bootlicker any type of air, because he wants a problem. Like he's on there, well, why you won't talk to the people? Because she don't effing want to. That's just like me watching my mom get killed, I was forced to talk to a person because nobody would tell me the truth. Do you know how hard that shit is to talk to a person when you know they did something wrong to your mom when you were a kid, but and you don't killed her? You know what I mean? And then you turn around and then you have to sit here and ask questions because you saw what the fuck he did and he's steady trying to convince you he did something else. So that shit is hard. That is hard. So I don't understand what's wrong with people.
Ben Crump and his legal team have been keeping their composure. But that's the end of the video. Shout out to Art of Dialogue. The link will be in the description.
Thank you for the comment just as well. This is my 12th day going live. I haven't been live in years, and I had to get my mental together. You know what I mean? I went through something myself, and the system don't help you. And sometimes the people that look like you won't tell you the truth either. So at the end of the day, our children are their children, and their children are our children. And we have to stand up for something, or we can stand up for nothing at all. We keep saying that we have to act a certain way to make them believe us. We don't have to act a damn thing. Look what's going on. TikTok is the biggest. Listen, they are FBI, CIA, and everything else. They got their own class of detectives there. And see, right now, the public is not having it. So if the public not having it, they know how black people get when it comes down to being a bug. We're not playing no games. When it comes down to our kids now, listen, Mother Nature is tired. Mother Nature is tired of them destroying their rightful people that's here. The Mother Nature is waiting for y'all ass to wake up. Y'all don't need to be in their nation. You could build your own damn nation. It's legal to do it. You know what I mean? We work our ass off to get dogs and other people that look like us come from other countries instead of be dogging us too, and we still loving and caring. But this year, I am so happy that we're being selfish. We've been selfish for a change. And I'm cool with everybody. My children have diverse friends, all that, right? And they're very respectful and everything. It's just these snobby, rich, these snobby kids that think they're privileged and think they could do everything and nothing happened to them. I'm sick of that. I'm going to tell you, if one arrest is going to be arrest for things that we never heard about. Watch what I tell you. That's all I could tell you. And y'all got to look at this video. I'm going to put the clips out. They broke it down what happened to that boat, and it makes sense. It was on a little earlier. It does make sense, you guys. Okay, it makes sense on why they took off as fast. Like, we are focusing on the boys instead of focusing on there may have been 4 boats out there, y'all. There may have been 4 boats, and we're so worrying about the boys, right? And they may have been out there, they may have seen, or they may have not seen anything, right? It's all alleged, right? But I believe an adult was somewhere in the mix. Something happened. Adult, in my opinion, coerced them on what to do. I think something happened, and I believe it's behind a girl. What you're not supposed to do. Because you have these sundown towns, even though us folks want to go live there thinking that we on top of the world, and I want to put my child in this situation. Go build your black communities with good black people in it, because there's a plethora of us that's willing to go back in our own communities and love ourselves again. We're looking at an hourglass of other people, and they're dictating right now. They're telling us we're racist. They're doing the switcheroo shit again that they done in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Hollenbach told us that we were slaves when we weren't even fucking slaves here in North America. And they started calling us Africans, knowing damn well we not no continent. This don't make any sense anymore. Yeah, but
he reacted to 5 minutes into the interview. So y'all go ahead and check that full interview out for yourself. That's part 1.
Right. We gotta get up. Let's go. He talking a little too much. Hold on a second. He get on my nerve. Catching let's see. Oh,
that lady dug up and went and researched.
Hold up, y'all.
Brought up the sounds. The truth is this.
Hold up, y'all. Let me tell y'all. The engineer earlier today, she showed how she did it. That shit is so legit till it ain't legit no more. You understand what I'm saying? And also, oh boy, what is his name? Damn, I showed him the damn. Sorry. Trent. His name Trent. He's a YouTuber. Like, he's an internet influencer, right? Ate his ass up from TMZ. I'm so happy. Y'all gotta stop going over there thinking like they're giving us the narratives that they want to give us. We have to start looking at science through our own eye and nobody else's eye. History through our own eye. Look right now, we're solving our issues. We're solving it ourselves. That means that we're taking care of our communities like we used to take care of our communities. You know what I mean? We're solving our issues ourselves, y'all. Look what we're doing with this Nolan thing. They wanted to say it was like a drowning, an accidental. What we said, oh hell no. It's about the stroke of a pen. Y'all better learn that.
If that video is legit, it's a few people in trouble. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Now, see, this is the stuff that you got to wait for. This type of evidence, right? Now, I'm going to help you out here. All right? I hear Bart and them parents are suing. Bart name was
they ain't finna sue no damn body
on the video.
They sue somebody. Got to talk about they got to talk about.
I asked one of his friends, who was a black guy, about Bart a few days ago, and they said that Bart was cleared already.
Who cleared it?
And according to the black people, they cleared Bart.
Huh?
What black people cleared Bart?
We haven't cleared Bart.
Who cleared it?
The No Cap crew has not cleared Bart. What are you talking about?
See what I tell y'all about bootlickers? They put things out there. These people pay people like this to do this. Oh, I'm from here, and we this. Yeah, you're from here, and I know how y'all talk. I'm from Louisiana, right? And I know how some people talk. Baton Rouge is a predominant black city. We don't play this shit right here. You ain't finna do none of this right here. But Mississippi, yes, you have those Mississippi old school coondans that they do things, they get away with things. People, they have aces in the hole when they let you out of things, and you owe them at the end. You brought your ass on here. The police, nobody has said they cleared nobody. It's an ongoing investigation, but you brought your black-headed ass with all these knots on top of your head on this internet. You say you cut hair, but look how dirty you look. And I'm sorry, I'm saying it. Look how dirty and musty you look. And you got the nerve to say somebody clear somebody? Ain't nobody told us that. And I got what, 56 on here? I had close to 100 earlier, 200 the day before, 200 and something the day before. And guess what? You say who clear who? Bootlicker.
About Bart a few days ago. And they said that Bart was cleared already. And according to the black people, they cleared Bart. I don't even know if the police cleared Bart. But it sounds like the black people involved cleared Bart.
Oh, the ones that was involved.
They said Bart had nothing to do with it. But Bart's name is all over that tape. But if these black guys are telling the truth, then guess what? You see why his daddy's suing. And that's what I'm saying, people. He can't just be so quick to just do this type stuff, man. This stuff take time, bro.
Man, this man is it.
Oh, y'all.
Who sent me this?
Itch. He just made me itch. You can't stop us from saying what
man, this is a black coon, man.
No captivity.
This is a setup. See how he started out the video talking about he knows Nolan Wells. This how these people will catch you up, man. This is some bullshit.
Bootlicker.
Come on, man. Y'all got to know what y'all sending me, man. I was just listening. I was like, what is this guy? I'm stop this guy right now.
Fucking bootlicker.
Y'all got to know what y'all sending me, man.
And yes, there are two people.
He must be live. This guy must be live. Let me get off this thing.
The hell?
Lord have mercy. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, what make me cringe is when people always having something to say. Always having something to say. Okay, let me. Oh, damn! What is this lady's name? They trying to sue her because she said that the boy was there. She said, "Fucking sue me." She a white lady. She don't even care. She's like she don't even care. She like shocking new update in the case of Nolan Wells. Well, the autopsy will bring. And y'all, he said he believes something did happen to him now, but it ain't who we think. I know, because there were 4 boats out there alleged. We're focusing on the children and the boys and stuff. Like I tell everybody, an adult did this to this boy. Some effing adult did this, in my opinion. Didn't know he was in tip top shape. Unless they crowded him, an adult, a strong adult did that to that boy. Telling you what happened. Nolan Wells' mother responds, I don't think I want to look at that. Let's see what's going on with Nolan. Fucking bootlickers just get on my damn nerves. Oh. TMZ got destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know why you putting him up there. It said audio engaging disappointment of Nolan Wells, the native. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all. Y'all late to the party. We did all the work already. All the advocates and stuff want to get involved right now. All y'all. No. Official autopsy of Nolan Wells completed. They keep saying it's completed. They didn't tell the parents, y'all. They said that the autopsy was completed to the internet to go viral. But guess who they didn't tell? They didn't tell Nolan parents. They already scheduled an appointment. That it should have been talked to them first. These people is dirty. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nah. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all listen to him. I'm gonna let y'all listen to this one. Because he got TMZ together. It's not all of it, but he got.
Yesterday, I was on TMZ and I caught Harvey in a bold-faced lie. Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th? Also, during my interview, Harvey boldly confirmed that Nolan was not on the boat that was heading back to the mainland. And I also checked him on that comment because as far as I know, the investigation is not completed yet and no officials have confirmed if Nolan was on the boat or not.
He wasn't on that boat.
And when I am done dragging Harvey and TMZ, I'm going to tell you about Warren's dad and his plans on suing Benjamin Crump. And then I will let you know about the first arrest in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. And surprise, surprise, it has nothing to do with Nolan. Somebody has been arrested for threatening Judge Ashley Cole, who is Warren's stepmama. Pretty ironic that the first person arrested is somebody who threatened a white woman. And the updates do not stop there. I have some news about the state-ran autopsy and what's really going on behind the scenes. There has been a ton of developments over the past 24 hours in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Before I start dragging Harvey and TMZ, I would like to give them credit for one thing. Shout outs to you guys for having me on the show. As they know, and many of you might know, I drag TMZ almost every day on this channel. I pretty much talk very unfavorable of them, and I'm very critical of them and the reporting. But regardless of that, they had me on yesterday to say my piece, and that you have to respect. Now, with that out the way, let me tell you how things went down, okay? And I have the clips to show you. It is on their website right now. You can see it was posted yesterday. But I'll show you clips of it right now. It's 10 minutes. I brought it down to around like 2 minutes. They started talking about, of course, the autopsy. They started talking about Ben Crump and Judge Ashley Nicole. I'll tell you guys about that, how Warren's dad is suing Benjamin Crump for defamation, and how Judge Ashley Nicole reported that somebody was threatening her and that person has gotten arrested. So I was brought on to say my opinion of that. Now, as we got into my opinion, I pointed out, and you'll see, I pointed out the fact that I find it very ironic that a white woman, a white judge in Mississippi says, oh my gosh, I've been threatened. And just to be clear, it's not right or fair to threaten anybody, but do you have any idea how many threats Christine has gotten and there has been 0 arrests? You're going to hear me call that out. 1. 2, Harvey, to me, is the most, he says that Nolan was not on that boat. And to me, that is the most shocking thing I've heard him say, or I've heard TMZ write in this whole entire case. How can he have the audacity to say that he could confirm that Nolan was not on that boat? And when I challenge him on that, he says, well, we saw the video that Officer Tatum put out. Former Officer Tatum? You mean Officer Dingbat? That is what you're going on? You're not telling me that a government official, the police, the DA, nobody told you and gave you that confirmation. The investigation is still ongoing, but you want to confirm to me that Nolan was on that boat because of a video that Officer Tatum put out and some pictures? Now, when I challenge him on that fact, and I asked him, how do you know that video that Officer Tatum put out, or former Officer Tatum put out, how do you know that that's real? How do you know that that was taken on July the 4th? How do you know they didn't stage that and they took it when he went out there to record? Because you know that they did go back on that island. I asked him, do you have the date and do you have the metadata? Now, Harvey doubles down and says, yes, we have confirmed the authenticity of it. We have checked the metadata. Then you're going to see, if you look very carefully, he gazes off camera for a split second. I feel like somebody's maybe telling him something, and he goes, well, anything could be possible. So 1 second, excuse me, did you confirm it? Did you see the metadata? Are you confirming that it was July the 4th, or are you not confirming, Harvey? I would just like to know. So watch the clip. I'm going to play maybe 30 seconds so that you hear him talking about the threats, or sorry, the lawsuit, and then the threats, and then you'll hear my piece. Watch very, very carefully when he looks off camera and then backtracks on the metadata.
Warren Hudson, specifically his mother, who is a judge, she, we're told, got a lot of threats, specifically from this one man who is known as a Sacramento area man, was arrested.
And there's something else that one of the boys who was friends with his dad talked to the New York Post and said they are considering filing a defamation lawsuit against Ben Crump. What we've kind of concluded based on video that we received is that Nolan was not on that boat, that's the boat at the beginning of the trip back from Horn Island, and that Nolan is not on that boat, and that's the boat that went into distress a few minutes after leaving Horn Island.
Hey, this is Trent Out Loud, YouTuber. I think the judge threats and the Benjamin Crump defamation lawsuit is just a distraction. I think it's incredibly telling that a white woman goes out and shows us the threats she's getting, and within days there is an arrest, but there has been 0 arrests when it comes to the Nolan Wells case. Do you have any idea how many threats Christine has gotten? How come there's nobody arresting for the people that are threatening her?
Well, no, listen, you first have to determine if there's foul play, right? And I don't know that they've determined that yet. So you don't go out and start arresting people until you know, A, if there's foul play, and B, who did it. But just because there hasn't been doesn't mean there's not a real investigation behind it.
Agreed. But now let's talk about that picture that you showed up of the boat. We got that picture from Officer Tatum, former Officer Tatum. How do we know when that picture was taken? We have no metadata. We have no proof. How do we know that? And also,
well, no, but what the video? It's not a pic. We're talking about.
Well, he put out pictures and video. But
I know, but the video, we can align the video with the distress call, and he wasn't on that boat.
Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former Officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Do you know 100% when that video and those pictures were taken? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th?
That's what we have concluded based on everything we've looked at, metadata, talking to people, and aligning it with the distress call. Yeah. Now, look, anything is possible. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't foul play because I don't know. It's just, I think, jumping to conclusions at the beginning and starting to point fingers at people without really knowing. It may be fair, but what if it's really unfair and you're kind of tarnishing people who really shouldn't be tarnished? Shouldn't that be a concern?
I think if anybody who jumped to conclusions first was the Mississippi officers that jumped to conclusions 1 hour after finding his body and said, no evidence of foul play. They jumped to conclusions, not us.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
They just want the truth.
I think that's fair.
To me, it is shocking that a huge platform like TMZ would have the audacity to go on the airwaves and say Nolan was not on that boat. We still have the CETO call to go over. I showed you guys that yesterday in the video I did yesterday. I'll put it in the comment section. Benjamin Crumb says, yo, they have the audio and they're working with forensic audio engineers. We don't know what was on that call. We heard other audio engineers. We heard content creators. We heard a lot of people bring their variations, but we still have to wait for Benjamin Crumb, and we still, newsflash, have to wait for the police investigation. So the audacity for Harvey to say that, and it goes what I always say about TMZ, they're always caping for the other side. You saw there in that clip, well, the boys have the spotlight on them. Oh, things are hard for the boys. How about Christine and Elmore? How about Nolan's family? How about the fact that Nolan is not here? Now, we don't know who was involved and who was not involved. But no, sorry. I'm not wasting my time feeling sorry for the boys that had Nolan's phone and didn't give it back right away, who didn't call right away, who left Nolan there. And regardless, whatever they had, their involvement or not, they left him there. You don't go out with your boys. You don't go out with your best friends anywhere and just leave them, much less a secluded island that you can't get off of without a boat. I don't go to the club and leave my friend. If he's, oh, yo, I'm waiting. No, listen, if you meet up with another group of friends that I know, I'll leave you. But no, oh, you met up with a girl, no. And especially, there's reports, and we don't know this yet, but he could have been drinking. That's even more. No, we're not doing that. And these are not big grown men. They're 18 years old. So I could go on forever. You guys have watched my videos before, or some of you must have, or you guys know about the information. We could go on a tangent about the questionable and shady things that those boys have done. And that is why they have the scrutiny that they have. But yes, we don't know their involvement, but there is enough that we could scrutinize them. So TMZ always does this. They're always trying to change the narrative for Joe McCann when it comes to Ashley Janae, trying to change the narrative when it comes to Carmelo Anthony. And here with Nolan Wells, it's always the same. It's always the same. And I feel like it's time to call them out for that. It's not just enough I do it here on my channel. It needs to be called out because they are a huge platform and they need to be held accountable. That is my 2 cents. And before I close this section up too, I just want to reiterate, as you guys know, I'm a staunch advocate for Christine. A mom, of course I feel bad for Elmore too, but a mom and her son, that's a different type of bond. Y'all know how close I am with my mother. That is a different type of bond. And for her to have been receiving those kind of threats, and for Ashley Cole, the judge, to have talked about threats and there's an arrest, and Christine Nah, man, we got to ride for Christine, man. And I think it's horrible that the arrests have been made for Ashley Nicole and not for Christine. So I hope Christine sees this. I've been told that the family and some people have been watching my shows, Christine. I hope that you see that even when I am on TMZ, I'm advocating for you, and daily on this channel, I'm advocating for you, and also Elmore. All right, let's go over now. I'm going to talk to you about Warren's dad, the doctor. The nerve of him saying that he wants to sue Ben Crump. Ben Hudson, Warren's father, is accusing Benjamin Crump of pushing a false narrative about his son and others. Hudson says his family plans to sue Crump for defamation and slander. He told the New York Post, in my opinion, Ben Crump has slandered and falsely accused my son, his friends, of Nolan's passing, and he's pursued what's an obvious false narrative. I think he can expect lawsuits, not just from my family, but from a number of other families who, in my opinion, he defamed. Hudson also accused Crump of using the tragedy for financial and political gain. In my opinion, truth is not Benjamin Crump's concern. He's exploiting the situation and raising money. He added, I think this is financially exploiting this entire tragedy and making it a much bigger tragedy at the expense of my family and our community and the Wells family. Really? The Wells family? The Wells family hired Ben Crump. What are you talking about, sir? Crump responded to Hudson's claims saying, it's a distraction. We're not distracted at all by this. Thank you very much. Love that they're just like brushing their shoulders off. Like, listen, we're not even going to waste our time. That's what I say every day on this channel. We are not wasting our time with these silly distractions. Nothing. Where's Nolan's throat? What's going on with the autopsy? We want to wait to hear from Benjamin Crump for the CETO audio. And that is it. Like all of this, oh, we're suing, or we're doing this, the judge, whatever. No, the focus should be on Nolan's parents and Benjamin Crump. I say this every day, and I love that Benjamin Crump is not paying this any attention. Now, let's move on to the next distraction, Judge Ashley Cole. A California man faces a charge after authorities say he sent a message to the judge tied to Nolan Wells' passing. Joseph Dumar was charged with interstate transmission of a threatening communication, carrying up to 5 years in prison. Investigators alleged he used a username, which I'm not going to put out, to threaten Judge Ashley Cole, whose stepson is Warren Hudson, who traveled with Wells before he went missing. The message read, there will be a package coming to your guy's office in the next few days. It's going to blow you away when you see it. Probably best you have the boys with you to see it as well. That's like very disturbing. It goes on and shows you the other threats, which I am not going to read. I don't want to even give this any more attention. More importantly, this man, Joseph, was arrested, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday, and like the article says, faces up to 5 years in prison. Now, I want to make something very, very, very clear. I do not condone any threats. I don't anything at all. I am not a fan of Judge Ashley Cole at all. I don't like the fact that she used like what looked like a government judicial letterhead to put out this statement like 2 or 3 days after Nolan's body was found. I do not like that. I feel like it was actually she was breaking the law. I heard there are people looking into her comments. Regardless of all of that, regardless of my thoughts, nobody should be threatened. Having said that, like I said at the top, what about the threats that Elmore has gotten? What about the threats that Christine has gotten? Like, okay, fine, Benjamin Crump and this, whatever, okay, that comes with the territory. They're public figures. How do you feel? How do you think Christine and Elmore feel? They haven't even begun to process the passing of Nolan because they have to do interviews and talk with the DA and do press, whatever, to keep their son's name in the headlines. They have said they cannot even have a moment to process. And then on top of that, they have to deal with threats. Ashley, again, it's wrong, but all you have to deal with is threats, and you're on here crying? This is really horrible. And like I said, it is just a distraction. Not right. I'm happy they arrested him, but please arrest everybody. that is threatening, especially to Nolan Wells' parents. Now, speaking about Nolan Wells' parents, let's move on to an update with the autopsy. Nolan Wells' parents and Benjamin Crump spoke with Don Lemon. I have a little clip, and then, actually, I'm going to give you some information first, and then I'll play the clip, because the clip has nothing to do with the autopsy. The clip has something to do with Officer Tatum, and I loved what Christine said about Officer Tatum. It's what I've been saying every day, so I'm happy that she agrees with me. The state-run autopsy has been officially completed. The findings has been turned over to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and the results will remain unreleased, aka sealed from the public, pending a grand jury. It will be presented to the grand jury first before we get any sort of information. Now, I do have a little bit more from that. Shout out to Ben Crump and Don Lemon. The family, Nolan's family and Benjamin Crump will be meeting with the DA next week to talk about the autopsy. Important to note that Christine and Elmore found out that the autopsy was complete from the media in the headlines before the DA even told them. The nerve, the audacity of these people. This is horrible. Something very important that Benjamin Crump said is that the DA can release information to the family if they want to, but they don't know if they will. So we do know we, the public, won't find out. Really sad, really shady. I would love to know, and I'm sure you all will know. I hope we do find out one day. But it's going to the grand jury, and some of you might differ and think, hey, it should go to the grand jury first. And I see that lens also. I just feel like because this case is so national and so many people are invested and there's so much misinformation, the sooner we get information, the sooner we could concentrate on the facts and receipts. And y'all know how much I love facts and receipts. That's why, but I understand waiting for a grand jury. I see both sides. But the DA can present some of the information, if not all the information, to Nolan's parents. I'm sure you can trust Christine and Elmore and Benjamin Crump. You can make them sign something for them to at least have some sort of reconciling and not keep them in the dark until it goes to the grand jury. Because remember, it can't go to the grand jury until the investigation is complete, and we don't know when that will be. So I hope they get some information, and it has been confirmed that the DA can. We just don't know if she will. It could take 2 days or it could take 2 months. We don't know when the investigation is going to be done. Benjamin Crump also highlighted the fact that the second independent autopsy cannot be completed until they get information and pictures from the first autopsy. Especially, well, two things: Nolan's throat, we know the details about that, and the lungs. Now, there's been a lot of speculation of, was the lungs sent to Dr. Roger Mitchell or not? I have confirmed that the lungs have been sent, but the reason why it's almost like he didn't get it, or why some people feel like he didn't get the lungs, is that the lungs have already been dissected, meaning that he doesn't know if there was water in there or not. He doesn't know about the airways. There's things that only a first autopsy can know, and a second autopsy is limited. So we need the remains, the bones of Nolan's throat. That we also need, and we also need the pictures and the information from the lungs. Very important to note, I feel this is very, very important. Even if it comes back that Nolan drowned, please don't feel like they were right the whole time, because Benjamin Crump really wants us to know that even if he did drown, Roger Mitchell, the doctor who did the second autopsy, asks, how did he drown? Was he unconscious before? Did somebody push him? Whatever. What is the state? So, okay, he drowned. Everyone's going to run with the fact, oh, it was an accidental drowning, case closed. No, just because you drown doesn't mean that there was no foul play. Doesn't mean that he wasn't held under. Doesn't mean that there could be a million things, and the result of him passing was from drowning. Now, I want to give a little bit more like evidence to that fact. There's been a viral clip going around for the past couple of days of two friends, totally separate from Nolan Wells' case, but two friends that were on a pier, and they were fighting, grown men, 50-year-old men. They got into a fight. One pushed the other guy, and it's all caught on camera. He falls down and he hits his head. The guy is unconscious. And then the friend, he's drunk. He doesn't even know what's going on. He takes him and throws him into the water. Now, how did the guy pass away? They'll do an autopsy and they'll see that he passed away from drowning. But no, it was obviously the guy, and now the guy's been arrested because it was caught on camera. So just because Nolan may have drowned, we still don't know yet. But if he does, we don't know the state he was in before drowning. Just like that guy pushed his friend, he hit his head. And hey, we all know that there was some discoloration on the back of Nolan's head too, right? So let's just not go crazy when we hear the results, okay? Now, Christine spoke with Dawn after Ben Crump. Christine said something really important. I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but she said one of Nolan's coaches who was on Horn Island on the same day said that he saw Nolan around 2:45 to 3:30 on the island. And by the way, the boat hadn't left at that time. The boat left at 4:31 to be exact. So he said that he saw Nolan, and very important, he said Nolan was not what everybody says, so drunk or inebriated or whatever. He said he was having a conversation and Nolan was fine. So that goes against this, remember that dispatch, missing persons report that it's like, oh, Nolan was heavily drinking. He only had swim trunks on. We don't know what he was eating before. I played that for you. I showed that for you like 2 or 3 days ago. So there's reports that, oh yes, he was this, he was that, whatever. A coach told Christine, no, he was fine. I had a full-on conversation with him. And that was around 2:45, 3:30. Very, very important information. Now, Dawn asked about Officer Dingbat, former Officer Tatum, and Christine shut it down right away. She said, absolutely no comment. I'm going to play the clip for you in a second. Then Dawn goes on to say, all right, I know you don't want to talk about him, but what do you think about Nolan's friends that are being interviewed by Officer Dingbat? And she says, that's a distraction. No comment. What happened to my son? I love Christine because I try my best not to talk about Officer Tatum. For those who watch this channel daily, I have no choice sometimes but to bring him up, for example, like in the TMZ interview or some little things, but we really have to do our part on not platforming him, not watching his videos. The more videos and the more clicks he gets, the more Instagram impressions, the more he's in the algorithm, the more he's going to keep on going. And if you think that he's just going to stop with this case, no, the next case that involves a black boy, girl, man, or woman, or brown man or woman, he's going to be right there front and center for the other side, telling us how horrible we are and how white people are this and white people are that. Like, you know, the shucking and jiving he's going to do. So please listen to this clip and see how Christine does not want us to platform Officer Dingbat.
When you talk about all the things that have been spread, there is this officer, I hate mentioning his name, a former officer who is a far right wing, who's been doing the interviews and has been saying, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not even going to comment on Brandon Tatum. No.
I respect that. Why did I even mention him? Because he doesn't deserve a platform.
No, he does not.
All right. After Christine Benjamin Crump came back on and explained Christine and her sending a subpoena to social media platforms and also becoming the sole executor of Nolan Wells' estate. Now, Ben explained to Dawn, he said that because we are not the law, we had to open an estate for Nolan. And now Nolan's estate can speak on the behalf of Nolan, and Nolan's estate can now demand the preservation of evidence. That is why she did it. He said, we had to threaten to sue so that we could preserve evidence. So, AKA going to Snapchat and say, hey, we are representative of Nolan Wells' estate. We are speaking on his behalf. We might sue and we might need something. So we want to put you on notice to preserve this evidence in case we might sue. Just want to put it out there. It doesn't mean that she's suing all social media platforms. So I thought it was really cool of Benjamin Crump to clear the air for us. And also shout out to Dawn. That was a really, really dope interview. Even after all that, I am still shocked that Harvey had the nerve to say that Nolan wasn't on the boat. I mean, I just talked about a bunch of other things that's still on my mind. How dare he? How dare he? And then say, well, I know because Officer Tatum's video. And by the way, no, I'm not going to play the video again. All right. I just play. It sucks that I had to play it even in the clip, the TMZ clip. But anyways, I'm still mad. Anyways, it is your turn. Sound off. And please, I'm open-minded. You think I'm being too hard on TMZ? Do you feel like Harvey has the right to say that when the investigation is still not complete? Please let me know. Let me know how you think I did on TMZ. Let me know if you think I held them accountable. And let me know what you think about me calling out the fact that Ashley has the only arrest in this entire case. I feel it is just telling of how this whole case is going and how things go down in Mississippi when you have privilege. Also, let me know what you think about Warren's dad potentially suing Benjamin Crump for defamation and slander. Please let me know what you think about Judge Ashley Nicole and the threats. And then also let me know what you think about the autopsy and where we are going to go from here. When you guys are commenting below, please, please, please do not forget to hit the like button. And also, please do not forget to subscribe. Subscribe. And when you're subscribing,
thank you, Trent Out Loud. Y'all, he challenged TMZ. Y'all got to go watch it. He got TMZ together. No one has been able to get those people together. They put all these false narratives. And for some reason, we as Black people are drawn to TMZ. We have to start doing our own investigation like we're doing now with the Nolan, Carmela Anthony, and all these other people, right? And we are pushing for leadership to get involved. That's why people are now getting involved. We also have to stop ducking the smoke of jury duty. You start crying when the person get time, but you don't want to do your part to help that person if he need to be freed. If he didn't do what they say he did to help him get freed either. So we can't keep crying wolf, and we have the power to do certain shit ourselves. So let's keep it pushing, y'all. I want to go to TikTok, y'all, because TikTok is where it is at, child. I'm sorry. It is where it's at, right? This lady, let me go to her. Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? Let me see.
Forensic did confirm that Nolan's body wasn't waterlogged. What that means is that they did not find any water in his lungs. So it would be impossible for him to have drowned. So that speculation is out the window, which also tells us that Nolan was already unalived before he ever hit the water. Correct? Because if he was alive when his body entered the water, then there would be water in his lungs. Correct? Also, do you know that in order for them to confirm that that was Nolan's body, the mother and the father did not confirm it because they went to go see their body, and they found out it was Nolan because through his dental records.
That's
and also Nolan's parents still have yet to see his body. They have not gotten a chance to see his body, and that makes you wonder why.
Hold on.
See, now we get into the nitty gritty, and I told y'all, well, all of us told y'all that Nolan Wells did not just pass away or did not drown, et cetera, et cetera. So the argument that you guys hear circulating around in the video, it's Nolan having an argument with his so-called friends because they were trying to peer pressure him to do rugs. You heard that right. TikTok lingo, you get it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Nolan is a football student athlete who goes to college and is a football player. And he was telling them that he was not about to do no rugs. He was not about to test positive or test hot on it. And he was not about to mess up his scholarship for them. That is what their argument is about. I told y'all, see, y'all be wanting people to just accept the foolery that y'all be saying, and y'all are so innocent and y'all would never, these are his friends. That's why I don't call nobody a friend, because y'all are just such, because anyone is capable of.
Anybody is capable of doing whatever they want to somebody, right? Hold on, let me get it. She's been cooking. She's been cooking. When was this? Is this? Oh, this pen. Okay, let's go to her newest.
Let me address this once and for all. I know this is to the United Cajun Navy. Brian Thatcher, to be exact. Sir, I know that you had called the Ben Crump's attorneys law firm and you had left a message to and for Ben Crump, and you offered your cadaver dog services to him to go search the boat or to see if there was any body decomp or anything of that nature that can prove or disprove that there was a body on those thugs' boat. And I think Liz or Lisa, whatever her name is, did contact you back and said that she received the message and that she would pass it along. So you never spoke to Ben Crump 1, 2. How can Ben Crump's attorney or Ben Crump himself give you the authorization to go on those thugs' boat when it's not his freaking boat? Wouldn't you then have to contact those people to get the approval to go on their boat and search their boat? You freaking idiot. Don't you have to contact them first? It's not his boat, idiot. Just let me address God. So, Mr. Raysom Tatum, not only did Nancy Grace debunk your there's no phone services to there was phone services. Well, it's not really good enough. It's not good enough to even make a phone call, bad reception, not good enough to send text messages, or not even good enough to upload anything on social media. When Katie proved that you could, actually, she uploaded stuff to her Snap. And then look what I found, Warren. Remember, you said everyone leaves their phones on the boat. Nobody would dare take their phones in the water because the salt water would damage it if they drop it. You know, that whole little that you did. We'll take a look at this. Let's not forget, Warren, that you told us that you actually called your mom while you were on Horn Island, while you were on the island, not in your boat, not anywhere else, but on Horns Island. Do you remember that? God. So, Mr. Raysom Tatum, I think it's funny that Benjamin Hudson was so mad, because this is what I gathered. He was so upset that nobody bought the $50,000 reward for any information leading, because he thought that would distract us and we would be like, oh, yay. That's just going to throw, that makes the woman all innocent. So now you're mad because we didn't fall for the okie doke. And so you then go do a fundraiser foolery on a wrongful death if Ben Crump and them file a wrongful death, which makes me question. So I mean, we know that you know because they know, all of y'all thugs know. And so you thought, now let's go do a fundraiser because they didn't take the bite and they won't shut up. And so you're basically trying to threaten people to shut up and stop talking about the case and stop talking about these thugs on a crime that we heard that was committed. Bye.
Not only have I found more evidence of a fourth boat, not only have I found a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether.
Talk about
here's
black
what is
boat,
supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top. You can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now, in between the two boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled, and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there. And yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there, according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. But if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And, well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back. And the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boats. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know that there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey, man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go. And I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock. And I mean,
I think it's funny that Benjamin Hudson was so mad because this is what I gathered. He was so upset that nobody bought the $50,000 reward for any information leading because he thought that that would distract us and we would be like, oh, yay. That's just going to throw, that makes Warren all innocent. So now you're mad because we didn't fall for the okie doke. And so you then go do a fundraiser, foolery, on a wrongful death if Ben Crump and them file a wrongful death, which makes me question. So I mean, we know that because they know, all of y'all thugs know. And so you thought, now let's go do a fundraiser because they didn't take the bite and they won't shut up. And so you're basically trying to threaten people to shut up and stop talking about the case and stop talking about these thugs on a crime that we heard that was committed. Bye. Please. Still talking. I think it's funny.
Not only have I found more evidence of a fourth.
Tatum, you want to know why Miss Christine didn't give you a platform or allow her and her husband to come on your podcast to talk about them? Is because you are a non-factor in their life. They don't owe you nothing. See, you got the YTs thinking that you got that kind of rank or that you running a show up in here, but you ain't running nothing but your dirty looking, spotty, ignorant mouth that you have. Okay? Go have your self-service because they don't owe you nothing.
We don't like
my
you.
platform. You will rarely ever hear me speak about anything that is irrelevant and is not growing or helping a case that I am covering. When it comes down to Nolan Wells, he will always get the light. When it comes to Daniel Irving, he will always get the light. And every other case that I work for people of color for justice, I think it's absolutely crazy that not the Thugs' family are trying to sue. They're trying to sue Ben Crump. Okay, y'all, we have a new.
Y'all, they not listen. They not gonna listen. Tell them to try. Tell them to try. These people is annoying. Like when I tell you, like, I don't even know how we keep getting in these. We keep getting in these situations, Lord. Like y'all got to do better. What the hell? Nolan. What the hell are they doing? They just play a lot. They play too much. Okay, let me see what she.
Damn it, Bart. Katie is awfully quiet, but her sister has said that Nolan was going with his friends. So to me, this makes sense. Nolan was in the water with Katie. The boat was taking on water. They decided they were.
Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all. What makes sense is what was told earlier by the girl. I got to find her social media because I need to know. Oh, let me see him because he be.
The internet is known to send black people to jail and help white people get off. Huh? The internet is known to send black people to jail and help white people get off. I understand that this story is trending with Nolan Wells. I understand that. And I understand that people want to get the most views out of it because the topic is trending right now. But if everybody who posts everything from this case before the police even know what's going on, post all of this and come up with their own synopsis, their own storyline, these boys are going to get off. Once again, I'm going to say this again so you hear it clear.
How is Nolan Wells the only one who didn't return home safe, but every single one of his friends did? And how do a group of friends go on a trip and come home without one of their friends? So if you haven't heard, on July...
Y'all, I'm trying to give both sides, so we gotta, bear with me.
18-year-old Nolan Wells went on a boat trip with his supposed friends to Horn Island in Mississippi to celebrate and have a good time. Later on, his friends left that island without him, and soon after that, he was found deceased. And when his friends were questioned, they said very mixed things. One of them said that they thought he got on another boat. Another one said that they had no idea where he was. And a third one said that he just went off with his girlfriend. I mean, it is just not adding up. Soon after that, a video began circulating online of what seems to be Nolan arguing with his friends on Horn Island. You can see Nolan here on the left and his friends huddled up over here on the right, and it seems like all of them are teaming up on him. And if you listen to the video, it sounds like they're saying something along the lines of, "Get off the effing boat." It was also revealed that Nolan and the girl that he was seen talking to, Katie, met each other on that island. They were not in a relationship prior to this, and many people are speculating that Nolan's friends got into an argument with him over him talking to Katie for whatever reason. And after Nolan was found deceased, people are saying that his friends didn't make a single post about him, that they actually deleted their social media accounts. They then lawyered up because their parents...
And y'all know what? They don't have anything about them having fun. Nothing happened during that day. It's like they tried to erase the whole entire day. If you didn't do anything, why would you scrub your social media? And I get it. I would have turned the comments out and I would have showed this is what we did while we were there. Like, I'm not getting it. Everybody, oh, they just want to talk. That's what's the problem. They always want to talk to you. They always want to talk to you 100 times so you can start believing lies. Some of them. Not all, but some of them. But it's crazy.
Thank you, my baby. I don't wish.
How is Nolan...
The internet is known.
We're at Horn Island.
I like him.
What?
We're in.
I don't, y'all.
Hey, Nolan Wells deniers. Why do you think that his friends told the cops that they didn't know the girl that he went with? Weird how in Warren's little interview, he fails to mention that he spoke with the deputies and several friends claimed they didn't know the girl he left with. Right here, 1:30 in the morning, even though they were supposedly texting with Katie, right? Didn't get their story straight yet. Right there in black and white, the boys lied. Or are we going to pretend that this isn't evidence too? Hey, Nolan Wells deniers. Why do you think that his friends told the cops that they didn't know the girl that he went with? Weird how in Warren's little interview, he fails to mention that he spoke with the deputies and several friends claimed they didn't know the girl he left with. Right here, 1:30 in the morning, even though they were supposedly texting with Katie, right? Didn't get their story straight yet. Right there in black and white, the boys lied. Or are we going to pretend that this isn't evidence too? Hey, Nolan Wells denier.
Hold up, y'all. I'm finna get this. I'm finna get this, and I'm gonna get this and break this down. We finna get this to hold on one second. Is this the report for the Nolan Wells? How do I get this? Get a copy of this.
Why do you think that his...
You guys are missing the point here, because I've also seen this said several times as well. I understand that that is an island that had many boats, many people. But you guys are also making a valid point for me and many others. Being that there were so many boaters, there were so many people celebrating the 4th of July, it makes it even more questionable. You're going to tell me that nobody saw him on that island? You're going to tell me.
Why does this guy's face look like he's terrified right here? You got to be careful of the company you keep. Are these new photos of Nolan Wells that have just been released?
A family continues to demand truth after man disappeared. Oh wow, this is a lot.
Nolan Wells went on a boat trip with friends. The friends came back without him, and then he was found dead. And now his family is seeking answers about the circumstances surrounding his death. On July 4th, 18-year-old Nolan Wells went on a trip to Horn Island, taking a boat there with friends to celebrate the holiday. His friends returned on the boat later that evening, and he wasn't with them. He was last seen on Horn Island around 3 p.m., and one of the friends reported him missing around 11 p.m., and then his mother reported him missing just after midnight after the friend called her. According to the Jackson County Sheriff, the friend said that he chose to stay on the island and they had the assumption that he was going to ride back to the mainland with someone else. But Nolan never came back, and searches for him took place before on Monday, July 6th.
Now, new audio obtained by
Play the video right now.
Like there was just a couple boats looking for Nolan. There was planes and helicopters and everybody. So
Listen to him now.
And then after this, obviously they didn't find Nolan that day.
Right.
And so what was your reaction like when you heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Well, the next day, it got to be about 1 o'clock on July 5th, and I was like, my mind started to turn. I was like, man, if he's not awake yet, like, where is he? Like, I got very, very worried.
Yeah, is that AI? What do you mean if he's not awake yet?
Brooks the next day, and we're driving, and my buddies were texting my group chat. They were like, hey, listen, I got a phone call from my buddy Trace, and he was like, hey, man, they just found his body.
Sound like y'all did it. Man, y'all don't see this, man. I can't be the only. Now, play the video right now.
Like, there was just a couple boats looking for Nolan. There was planes and helicopters and, everybody. So
listen to him now.
And then after this, obviously they didn't find Nolan that day.
Right.
And so what was your reaction like when you heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Now, it's also apparently been said that Nolan told the other friends that he would just hitch a ride back with some.
I think people have got to remember that is.
Nonetheless, the other parts of the video where they say,
on the channel for Nolan. Joe, I need you to do like a timer.
So we now have an explanation for why Nolan Wells was left on Horn Island and was not taken back on the boat with his friend.
Oh my God! Yesterday, I was on TMZ and I caught Harvey in a bold-faced lie. Yeah, but Harvey, how Yesterday, I was on TMZ and I caught Harvey in a bold-faced lie. Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former Officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th? Also, during the interview, Harvey had the nerve to confirm.
The FBI has finally addressed its involvement in the Nolan Wells investigation after weeks of silence.
And there's one voice in this entire situation who's been saying exactly that since the beginning. Former Mississippi Judge Carlos Moore. This is not some armchair analyst speculating from the outside. This is a man who operated inside this exact legal system. He knows how grand juries work. He knows the difference between what they're designed to do and what they're being used for here. And he is not being diplomatic about it.
All of the other things I've stated, you piece it together. Is there enough right now for arrest warrants for murder? That is a good question.
Judge Moore has said publicly, you don't have to be indicted for anything to be arrested. All of this evidence is out there now. It should have been presented to a judge by now for probable cause to make some arrests. His argument is worth understanding precisely, because a lot of people hear the word arrest and assume that means charges are coming. That's not quite right. What Judge Moore is pointing out is that probable cause for an arrest and the standard for a grand jury indictment are two very different legal thresholds. A grand jury determines whether there's enough evidence to formally charge someone with a crime. That's a high bar. An arrest, on the other hand, only requires probable cause. Enough reasonable evidence to believe a person may have committed an offense. You bring them in. You question them under conditions that carry legal weight. You apply pressure. You build the case, or you eliminate them as suspects. Judge Moore's position is that the evidence that's already publicly known meets that lower threshold for probable cause. And he's pointed to specific pieces of evidence to back that up. The GPS data from the boat. That data shows the boat's movements, where it went, when it stopped, how long it stayed in certain locations. If that data contradicts what the friends told investigators about their timeline, that's probable cause. The phone that was left behind. Whose phone? Where was it?
Okay, y'all. I have the MD. Hold on. What do you call it? Hold on 1 second. The report. I did put it in chat to break down. We thought that he left that phone on the boat. According to this report, they said he left his phone in his buddy's truck. I'm finna let y'all hear. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I asked it to break down the report itself for me. Um, this don't sound right. Why would you leave your phone in your buddy's truck? That makes no sense. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay. Let me see if it allows me to. Let's see what it does. Share. It say stop the screen. Let me see if it allowed me to. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see it allow you guys to hear because I asked it to break the whole report of what is let's see if it allow it to play, okay?
Here is the report broken down in
Oh, it
plain language. This is the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources Marine Patrol report, not the complete Jackson County Sheriff's investigative file. MDMR says it was assisting another agency, and Jackson County was the lead investigator. E-port is this. Incident number MP2607-0016. Classification, missing person. Report type, non-criminal report. Description. Assist another agency. Location, northwest tip of Horn Island. Primary officer, Shay Smith. That means MDMR was documenting its search, drone, boat, GPS, and assistance activities. It was not presenting a final conclusion about what happened to Nolan. Hopper 2, the first Cal-Y. According to page 3, MDMR dispatch was contacted around 11:49 p.m. on July 4. Nolan's mother reportedly said Nolan had gone to Horn Island with friends. He was reportedly last seen around 3 p.m. His phone was left in a friend's truck. The friends had returned from the island without him. MDMR directed her to make the official missing person report with Jackson County. The Coast Guard had also reportedly been notified. At approximately 1:38 a.m. on July 5th, Jackson County reportedly told MDMR. Friends said Nolan stayed behind with an
Y'all say the
unidentified
phone was
female.
in the truck.
Nolan supposedly chose to remain on the island. Jackson County did not believe there was an immediate water emergency. Their working assumption was that he may have returned on another boat without his phone. Because of that explanation, the report says no further action was taken by that MDMR shift during the early morning hours. Why that matters. The report shows a ing on what the friends allegedly said, that Nolan intentionally stayed behind with a woman. The report does not establish that statement was true. It only records what Jackson County reportedly relayed to MDMR. Nashtar 3. The story about the unidentified woman. The report later says an officer tried to locate Lainey Naquin, who had apparently been identified as a possible female who was with Nolan. She told the officer she was not on Horn Island. She was on Petite Boys Island with another group. She knew Nolan, but had not seen or spoken with him in more than a year. So the woman they checked denied being the woman who stayed behind with Nolan. Important
See
unanswered
other
question.
women.
The report does not identify
See
on
how they
who
lied?
stayed with Nolan. Therefore, based only on this MDMR report, the claim that Nolan remained with an unidentified female appears unverified. Number 4, the official search began the next morning. Around 8 a.m. on July 5th, MDMR officers traveled to Horn Island. They encountered Nolan's parents and his former high school coach already helping search. The search reportedly involved MDMR vessels, Jackson County vessels, National Park Service, Biloxi Fire, Civil Air Patrol aircraft, Jackson County helicopter, privately owned boats, drone teams, sonar searches. The search focused heavily on the northwest and western portion of Horn Island. 5. The drone problems. The report says drone assistance was requested around there occurred. 3 initial drone launch attempts failed because of a software issue. A different drone was launched around 12:40 p.m. A second flight began at 1:22 p.m. The second flight ended abruptly when the batteries separated. Excessive heat reportedly caused lithium batteries to swell. Further flights were canceled. Each drone search area was approximately 0.1 square mile. Nolan was not located during either flight. This means the drone search was limited and interrupted, not an uninterrupted search of the entire island. Nuzzer 6. Sonar search. On the evening of July 5th, MDMR sent a patrol vessel to conduct sonar surveys near TRN Island. The report states sonar results were inconclusive. The operation was stopped because of bad weather, so the sonar did not establish whether Nolan was or was not in the water. Number 7. The two boats listed in the report. The report identifies two vessels, 2020 Tidecraft, registration MI295CB, tration MI488BU. MDMR later downloaded GPS information from both vessels after the owners signed permission to search forms. However, the Tidecraft file reportedly contained only waypoints. The Triton file contained waypoints, routes, and tracks. The detailed movement timeline in the report appears to come from the Triton boat, MI488BU. The GPS timeline. The report gives this boat timeline for July 4. 9:56 a.m. Boat departed the El Camino Real Road area for Horn Is. Boat arrived at the west tip of Horn Island. 11:15 a.m., 4:30 p.m. GPS points were consistent with the boat remaining stationary. 4:31 to 5:24 p.m. Boat began leaving Horn Island, but traveled north very slowly, between approximately 0.06 and 4.2 knots, for approximately 2.75 miles. 5:25 p.m., boat reportedly resumed normal speed around 30 to 35 knots. 5:44 p.m., boat arrived back near El Camino Real Road. 5:52 p.m., boat left again and traveled into Fort Bayou. 6:06 p.m., boat returned to the El Camino Real Road location. 6:36 p.m., boat left again and traveled through the St. Martin Bayou, Biloxi Bay Bridge, Fort Bayou area. 7:19 p.m., boat arrived at Fort Bayou boat launch. 7:47 p.m., boat was reportedly transported by trailer to Cardinal Lane. 7:59 p.m., last GPS point for July 4. 9. The unusual slow speed period. The most noticeable part of the GPS timeline is the period from approximately 4:31 p.m. until 5:24 p.m. The report says west tip. It traveled only about 2.75 miles. Its speed varied from nearly 0 to 4.2 knots. It then suddenly returned to a normal speed of 30 to 35 knots at 5:25 p.m. The report does not explain why the boat moved so slowly for approximately 53 minutes. Possible explanations could include shallow water, engine trouble, idling, drifting, towing, stopping, looking for someone, navigating carefully, or something else. But the MDMR report itself does not say which explanation is correct. Number 10. The boat's GPS was powered on several times afterward. The GPS timeline also says it was powered on July 5th at 9:32 a.m., July 5th at 9:51 a.m., with a notation that the vessel may have moved approximately 52 feet, July 5th at 9:53 a.m., July 5 at 10:27 a.m., July 5 at 4:50 p.m. by an MDMR officer, July 7th at 6:10 p.m., July 8th when the officer downloaded the files wheel. The report does not identify who powered it on during every one of those earlier times. It specifically identifies the officers for some later activations, but not all of them. Number 11. The GPS evidence was not collected immediately. The incident occurred July 4th, but the GPS files were downloaded on July 8th, 4 days later. The report says, the boat owners served permission to access the GPS. The boats remained at private residences. Officers copied the data onto memory cards. The files were then converted and reviewed using Garmin Homeport and Google Earth. This report does not say that either boat or GPS unit was seized and secured as evidence immediately after Nolan disappeared. It records a voluntary download several days later. Why that matters? That does not automatically mean the data was changed. However, questions an investigator would normally want answered include: who had physical access to each GPS before July 8? COS be deleted or modified? Were the original devices forensically imaged? Were audit logs or deletion records available? Was the GPS clock verified for accuracy? Was the exported file compared to internal device storage? This MDMR report does not answer those questions. Number 12. what the GPS proves and what it does not prove. The GPS supports that the tracked vessel went to the west end of Horn Island, remained there for several hours, left during the late afternoon, returned to the mainland, traveled to several additional mainland area locations. The GPS does not by itself prove who was aboard during each portion of the trip, whether Nolan boarded the boat when it left, whether anyone exited the boat during the slow speed period, what happened aboard the boat, whether the GPS was operating correctly at every moment, whether another boat transported Nolan, whether Nolan remained on the island, whether Nolan entered the water. No. 13. The official call records. The CAD pages show initial missing person call around 11:45 p.m. July 4th. The disposition says clear without a report. A separate MDMR assist call was created at 10:05 a.m. July 5th. Drone flights were documented around 12:40 p.m. and 1:22 p.m. The assist call was closed during the afternoon. On July 8th, it was briefly reopened to assign a case number and designate a primary officer. That is important because the formal MDMR case assignment appears to have been made several days after the initial missing person call. 14. The biggest inconsistencies or unanswered issues. Based strictly on this document, these are the strongest unanswered points. The woman's story. Authorities were originally told Nolan stayed with an unidentified woman. Cade denied being there. No confirmed woman is identified in this report. The delayed response. MDMR says no early morning action was taken because Jackson County did not believe there was a water emergency. The phone. The report says Nolan's phone was in a friend's truck, meaning Nolan allegedly remained on an isolated island without his phone. The slow boat movement. The GPS shows nearly an hour of unusually slow movement after leaving Horn Island, but the report gives no explanation. The multiple mainland trips. After returning from Horn Island, the boat traveled to several different locations before being trailered. Delayed GPS collection. GPS data was downloaded 4 days later, after the devices remained in private possession. Incomplete search technology. Drone attempts failed or were stopped. Sonar was inconclusive and stopped because of weather. No detailed statements from the friends. This report summarizes what Jackson County said the friends claimed, but it does not include their individual interviews, exact words, timelines, or contradictions. Number 15.
That is wild, y'all. See, they named women that we knew well for I did not know nothing about, right? All I heard about is Katie. So they even named hold on one second, y'all. This is annoying for me. Hold on one second. Let me see. Lord.
This MDMR report does not name anyone called Katie. So from this report alone, I cannot say Katie was involved. The women named or mentioned are Lainey Naquin, who was initially thought to possibly have been with the group. She told officers she was actually on Petit Bois Island and had not seen or spoken with Nolan in over a year. Wyatt Pyron's mother, who cooperated with officers and allowed them to view the boat's Garmin GPS. An unidentified NDS allegedly claimed Nolan stayed behind with. The report does not name or confirm that woman. So unless Katie appears in the separate thefts investigative file, witness statements, or another report, this document does not
But
connect
they're
her to the
claiming
incident.
that Katie is supposed to be the last person. Can you search that for me? But it's strange that she's not in this report and another girl is in this report. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. So there were plenty people, girls and boys, in this group, y'all. So it's bigger than what we actually think it is. He said, yes, I searched Katie McCall. Okay. That is crazy. She doesn't appear in the report, though.
Yes, I searched it. Katie McCormack is the young woman later identified in media reports as the person Nolan was reportedly talking with on Horn Island before his friends left. Some reports describe her as one of the last people known to have spoken with him. But there are two different stories. One, the friends' reported account. Nolan chose to stay behind because he was talking with Katie. Two, Katie's family's reported account. Katie believed Nolan had gone back with his friends when they left. That would mean she did not knowingly leave him alone on the island. Why Katie is not named in the MDMR report? That report says officers were sent to interview Lainey Naquin, who was initially reported as possibly being the woman with Nolan. Lainey denied being on Horn Island and said she had not spoken to Nolan in over a year. The report never names
So
Katie
who would
and
have
never
given
explains
her
who
that
gave
name?
officers Lainey's name. Genuine discrepancy. Jackson County reportedly told MDMR that Nolan stayed with an unknown female. MDMR followed up with Lainey, who said she was not there. Katie was later publicly identified as the woman Nolan was reportedly speaking with. Katie does not appear in this 15-page MDMR report. That does not automatically prove Katie did anything wrong. It may mean Jackson County interviewed her separately, and those details. The report does not say who originally gave authorities Lainey Naquin's name. What it does say is that Captain William Freeman directed Officer Jacob Strickland to locate and interview a woman who was possibly involved. Strickland then went to Lainey's home because she had been initially reported as being on Horn Island with Nolan's group. But the document never identifies whether that information came from one of Nolan's friends, another witness, Jackson County investigators, dispatch, or someone else. T.I. had already interviewed Nolan's friends and was the lead agency. The most reasonable inference is that MDMR probably received Lainey's name through Jackson County or information gathered from the friends.
Well, it got to be from
But that is an inference. The released report does not prove who supplied it. That is exactly why this deserves a question. Open quote. Who first identified Lainey Naquin as the woman Nolan was supposedly with, and what witness statement was that identification based on? Close quote. It is especially important because Lainey denied being on Horn Island, while later reporting identified Katie McCormack as the woman Nolan had spoken with. Katie's sister said Katie believed Nolan was returning with his own friends, not staying behind with her. Site turned 289405 News 2 Live supplied authorities with the wrong woman's name, but the available MDMR report does not reveal.
Y'all, that is crazy. Now, this other young lady, never heard her name ever. Even though they questioned her, we're not looking at the right things. We're definitely not doing that, right? And I mean, obviously, I've been working doing, opening up a school, stuff like that. I've been opening up. Well, it's open now. I'm trying to work on getting students and stuff like that, right? I got a high school K through 12. We also gonna have different labs, different things for us to learn as Black people, right? And minorities, whomever wants to come, basically, right? However, breaking this down now, like if you actually get the reports and you listen to what the hell they're saying, it's a big conflict. Either this girl was there or not. If you're going to call her name, right? Someone had to give those people that girl's name. For some reason, she has not been mentioned at all. They're saying she didn't see him in a year, but someone had to say she was around, right? Or I'm delusional or something. Like, what would her name come out? How would a person's name come out their ass? Like out of the sky for no reason. Makes no sense to me, right? Yeah, I gotta make a few videos. I'm gonna make videos because I just download this oh my god. Some just say download the description of what the findings and what they told these people and what they reported, because it's only one-sided, however it goes. However, I was not aware that he left the phone in his friend's truck. On the internet, it makes you led to believe that he left the phone on the boat. He didn't leave it said a truck. Who leaves a fucking, come on, bro. I have 20, my children are in their 20s. They will cringe if they have to be distanced from their phone. Like, Oh my God. And majority of people had their phones on the island. Why would he do that? Just tell me, why would he leave his phone in his buddy truck? They have pictures, so they didn't leave their phones. That's y'all, that's messed up. It's just messed up, y'all. This report is literally saying the breakdown of who's there. It was left in his truck. The way that the internet is going, it was like he left it on the boat, and everybody's talking he left it on the boat. No, it's according to what they're saying. This is them saying it. Nolan left his fucking phone in his buddy's truck. And that's why he was not able. Oh man. All that stuff was calculated. Oh yeah, it was calculated. Everything was calculated. Now it's time to find out who's involved. Cause I gotta go. I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna make a video about this, right? Cause I'm extremely I'm upset right now. Cause I'm thinking, okay, they're arguing about we leave our phones on the boats all the time. We don't leave our phones way back in no goddamn truck or no car. Who does that? Just tell me who you know that you have children that's young would have done that. That's born in the 2000s. A matter of fact, that would have left their phone in a damn car. The fuck? And then they talking about a young lady. We have not even heard her name. So let's get it out there. Let's get it out there. And I mean, obviously, if she didn't have nothing to do with it, fine. But we was not aware that these people lied on her. This is a lie that been told, right? Because we heard nothing about it. And I guess we won't hear about everybody, but the initial report says her, not Katie. So where did Katie come from? Let's talk about it. Lord have mercy. This young man last minute, hour, second of his life getting torn away from him. Yeah, this is a effing shame. This could be any of our children. You got 75 people in here. Thank y'all for even listening, taking the time to help me. I just need some help. Like, help me dissect this because this is not real. Like, I understand, like, we have a lot of tragedies, but this is one tragedy that is so confusing. And they're not making it better than putting all these Photoshop pictures out there, lying like somebody's foot is hanging out the boat. And I told them that's a distraction. Everything is a distraction. Stop playing the game with them. But oh my God. Y'all got a headache. And I'm finna get off here. I'm gonna get back on tomorrow. It'll be probably 12 o'clock, 12 a.m. when I get on tomorrow. Yeah, about 12 a.m. I need to sit back and I need to read. Well, I obviously I threw it in chat and let them grab things out of there that's important because I'm not gonna read all that stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's not whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not a case that I'm working on. I am a paralegal, okay, and I had to take a mental break from that because black folks want you to help them do their pro se. So I'm a person when I do a paralegal work, I like to get all the information from the time you've been going to court, from whatever the situation, to figure out how to help you and make sure we write your information correct. And it got to a point where people didn't want to pay anymore. You know what I mean? And they thought I was their secretary or I was just on hire call. No, you pay me for services and that is it because I'm a nice person. I was like, no, handle it this way, handle it way. I can't go and quote you because I'm not a lawyer. And I constantly tell them that. And I tell them whenever we're doing stuff, you got to learn how to be your own lawyer. It's your business, your concern. Like if you want to go learn how to get a house, you learn how to do that. If you want to learn how to open a business, you go learn all the aspects of doing that. When you get in trouble, you need to learn all aspects of what that is to help you get up out that shit. And if you don't sit your ass in a law library or go read cases similar to yours, which you have chat and all this stuff can break down certain things to make things stick out to you. Like, ugh, I don't know. But anywho, I had to take a mental break. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing my own personal stuff and I've been happy, but I have another business that's doing very successful. and I just opened up an online school. So I'm trying to get myself in a position because I'm 53, finna be 54 um next month, August. Yeah, next month. And I just want to be in a position where I can enjoy life. I can do the things that I want to do, getting back into people, whether it's black or white, just unaliving women and different things and how they dismissing stuff, basically become an advocate. That's what I want at the end of the day. So I'm trying to get everything. I done fixed up my what you call this garage into a live studio. All my workout stuff, everything is in here. Took the bed from here and put it back upstairs. Oh, Lord have mercy, is a lot, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Y'all, I'm so happy and so thankful to y'all, especially on Twitter, because when I first started, all I got people from Twitter. I have over 200 and some people from Twitter sit and ride, looking, helping me dissect what's going on. Now I got people from Facebook coming in, a lot of people from Facebook. I'm trying to learn how to navigate everything. I got another computer so I can have that stuff up so I can see when y'all all come in at the same time. Um, I got people coming from YouTube and stuff like that. I just got the key code to learn how to do Instagram so I can pick up on Instagram. I got so many videos that I'm putting out. When I get out here, I'm gonna do this video of this so people can understand what is going on. Like, we gotta stop worrying about Tom, Dick, and Harry. We gotta worry about the facts. We got to stop saying these boys had something to do with that. At the end of the day, somebody, in my opinion, and I've been saying from the beginning, somebody grown did this. They says alleged it's a fourth boat. We just ain't pay attention because that boat was not really seen. Okay. But if you listen to the interview, you're going to see that one person had two boats. Who was driving the other one? Think about it. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of information is out there, but you gotta like shut the noise out. And just like I did, I said, you know what? I'm listening. Cool, cool, cool. Let me get some documentations of some things, right? This is documentation by them. Y'all said Nolan left his phone in the truck. I haven't heard nobody on the internet said that phone was in the truck. I clearly heard people say that phone was in, he left the phone on the boat. That's not true. The girl they say alleged was with him. The only people we've been hearing about is Katie. And Katie letting them know, don't play with me. And showing pictures of where she was, timestamp and everything else. I'm going to tell you, if this be an arrest, it's going to be arrest for things that we don't know about. Watch what I tell y'all. Watch. Watch what I tell you. And even if these people want to sue people, these boys, I'm going to keep it a buck, their life will never be the same. Their life, I don't care what nobody go on the internet, bootlickers or whatever else. Them boys' life ain't gonna never be the same. You gotta understand when somebody think they're unalive, when they're killing someone, you actually doing yourself that too. Because no one, when people, especially if you go viral, people gonna know you. And if they don't know you, then they will understand who you are later. They won't F with you. Because in their mind, whether you did something or not, the way you're moving, the way you're carrying on, the way you're trying to apply pressure on somebody's mom on what she should do and what you think she should do, and you're not in her position to do that, yeah, you got to be out your mind. I ain't gonna get that other bootlicker. I ain't gonna say who I call the bootlicker, but I gotta break this down, y'all. This is insane. Like, I promise you, I didn't know some of this stuff. So we are focusing on the wrong thing. I can tell you that. Definitely doing that. They talk about the boat slowing down and everything else. Nobody's talking about all of that. No one is talking about all of that. But I'm gonna put a video. Look me up. It's Erica Trenell. ErikaTrenell. TikTok. It's gonna be on all platforms. And I will upload it on X. Y'all just make sure y'all follow me. Please follow me or whatnot. I'm here to spread the love. You know what I mean? I'm here we could do to be truthful as possible. If we don't need to be accountable for stuff, I'm not going to say we need to be accountable, because for every reaction, there's a reaction. And that's my motto. Remember that. For every reaction, there's a reaction, and there's a consequence behind someone else's reaction. And I am not sorry for nothing. Good and bad and different. It only teach whatever is bad, teach you how to make sure you never do it again. You go down the straight road. You just learn. You learn from your mistakes. That's what life is about. Not for you to look down on yourself about being a effed up person once upon a time. You know what I mean? But I pray to God that we get Carmelo Anthony out of jail. He does not belong there. I already know why they gave him the sentence. I'm gonna tell you why they gave Carmelo Anthony that sentence. Because if he gets an appeal or a post conviction bond, he can't get that post conviction bond because they sentenced him over 10 years. That's why. Go look at the law in Texas. Anything over 10 years, they won't give you a bond. You have to sit and wait until the judge, whatever. The only way he can get out of jail if they give him a new trial or insufficient of counsel, effective counsel, whatever you call it. I'm getting tired though, y'all. Y'all have a great day. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Y'all go check my website, Nativa Alliance High School, but it's the Nativa Alliance Community High School, but the website is Nativa, it's Nativa, not IVE, it's IVA, okay? Y'all be good. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 12 a.m.
Looking for a K-12 education that goes beyond the textbook, right from the comfort of home? Welcome to a new standard of online learning.
Beyond general education, our students dive into specialized virtual labs for real-world job readiness. Genealogy lab, historical lab, civil law, and our media and public speaking lab.
We prepare global citizens with immersive Spanish and French language tracks. And because we're proudly Florida-based and Step Up certified, families can access the elite education through state scholarship programs.
Diverse representation, academic excellence, and career readiness, delivered entirely online, wherever you are. Secure your child's spot today. Secure your child's spot today. Visit our website to enroll.